Hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman. Always with Tom or
words, order, something.
This, again, hey, Ohio State, yes, they lost to Indiana in the Big Ten Championship game. We're trying like heck to get the show on.
Yeah.
Lucas Oil Stadium, the absolute worst place to try to do this because they don't have internet. You don't care about that. You guys want to talk about this game?
You'll care about that if we go away. If we go away, that's why. So,
Tom, I think this comes down to some interesting things, some intangible things that eventually I think caught up with Ohio State. One, this is a recruiting week. This is signing day week. So you've got a lot of the time spent that. And these are not excuses.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what Ohio State had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Hartline was off to USF for a good day or so. And so you've had to deal with that. You've had to deal with the emotion of the Michigan game. Like, we didn't really, we talked about some of these things and that these are things that Indiana didn't have to deal with. Indiana had their own things. Like, you're playing the biggest game in your school history.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot to deal with. But I think everything caught up with Ohio State, but mostly the most impactful thing that caught up with Ohio State is the Indiana defensive line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was I mean, first of all, let's be clear. Like, Brian Hartline being in Tampa for a day and a half or whatever it was not why they were in 13 personnel perpetually in the red zone. Like, there's stuff that has been all year. We've kind of been going, why do you keep doing this? And they keep doing it. And then tonight was the night that it caught up with them. But no, this is. I feel like this conversation, we really need to start this conversation with Indiana. Like, I know this is an Ohio State focused show. I'm just going to make a list of true statements. Ready?
Right. Yeah.
The Indiana Hoosiers are Big Ten champions. The Indiana Hoosiers are about to have the Heisman Trophy winner. The Indiana Hoosiers are going to the Rose Bowl. The Indiana Hoosiers are going to enter the college football playoff as the number 1 seed. The Indiana Hoosiers are a legitimate national championship contender. All of these are true factual statements about a team that 2 years ago was the perpetual laughingstock of the sport, the losingest team in the sport. You know, I know that everyone's going to want to talk about the Ohio State side of this, and you will get to it, but like, holy crap, like, college football is a sport where lots of crazy, unpredictable things happen. 2007, crazy, unpredictable season. A guy from James Madison brought a bunch of guys from James Madison, and all those things are true. Oh, by the way, James Madison might make the college football playoff, and the ACC is going to be left out. I mean, that is wild.
You know, I felt like Kurt Signetti in the first half playing a little bit not to lose. They weren't doing too much. It was like they were waiting to go and win the game.
Yeah.
And then when they had that opportunity on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 at the end when they threw it, they did the Jeremiah Smith against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Threw it to, was that Becker?
Charlie Becker. Yeah.
And Jermaine Matthews in coverage got beat. That was probably the worst coverage of the day. Because I thought on the other big plays, the coverage was there.
Yeah.
But Indiana made plays.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest one for them. And I was not able to see it. I was able to hear it. And what I'm hearing is like the O's from they're throwing the ball like and then the place goes crazy. Yeah. And that's the ultimate sign that Indiana. Was it 70-30, 65-35, 60-40?
I was at most, I would say 60-40. There was, I mean, like, looking around the stadium after the game, there was a huge chunk of the stadium that wasn't there.
Yeah,
that was not, like, during warm-ups, it sounded like there were more Ohio State fans there. And I don't know if that's just based on where I was standing or what. But then all pre-game, I thought, there's more Ohio State fans here. How could that possibly be true? And then when the game started, it was like, oh, Indiana fans showed up.
Well, they were louder than Ohio State fans.
Well, they had more stuff to cheer about than Ohio State fans.
Did they?
Well,
I mean, throughout the game, they were louder.
Indiana fans are still at the point in the cycle where they're grateful for stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which, that Ohio State fans have outgrown that long ago. But it's a, this is a, Indiana played. If you go back and watch the How Does Indiana Win This Game show that Tony and I did, we talked about the fact that it is a keep it close, hang around. They're not going to run Ohio State off the field. So you got to keep it close, hang around, and win it in the fourth quarter. And that's what they did. And I thought the second field goal was. I didn't think they were going to keep Ohio State out of the end zone as much as they did in the second half. I thought Ohio State was going to get into the 20s, and I thought kicking that second field goal was going to catch up with them, and then it didn't. And for Ohio State to be inside the 10 twice and not get anything out of it, I mean that
was the ball game.
That was the ball. That's it. Inside the 10 twice and 0 points, and poor Jaden Fielding. Like, I know everyone's mad at Jaden Fielding. Jaden Fielding didn't lose that game. Just in the same way that Jaden Fielding didn't lose the Michigan game last year. He missed kicks, but he didn't lose the game. The game was lost in all the stuff that took a game that Ohio State probably should have won by a score or two and turned it into a game where, well, I sure hope the kicker makes a kick, because otherwise we're in trouble.
Ohio State's touchdown drive, 25 yards.
Right, yeah.
That was it. That was a play by the defense. David Sneakin comes away with the interception. And you have a drive of 70 yards, you have a drive of 81 yards, and you come away with nothing. Like, as Ryan Day said, that was the story of the game. That's the most frustrating part. And really give the defense, the Indiana defensive front seven, a huge, all of the credit, because we've not seen Julian Sam pressured like this at all. They wanted to throw downfield, and there were times that he just couldn't. He was looking downfield, and by the time he was starting to dial it up, he was tackled, he was thrown down. Yeah. So this one, as Ryan Day said, this is the pissed off team you've got right now. Great. I mean, they've turned that into something before, and they're going to have an opportunity to do that now. Now that they've tasted their own blood, and they're going to have to, do you know, or does this come down to the rankings? Is Texas Tech going to the Cotton Bowl?
So it's there's not a specific tie as far as I'm aware, because it's based on the conference tie-ins. So the Big Ten champion goes to the Rose Bowl. Indiana fans, if you were watching, book your tickets. I know you're thinking you're going to go to other games, and you very well might. You probably will. We have been to all 6 New Year's 6 bowl sites over the last 7 years or so. 5 of the 6 are like, if you want to go, by all means, you should go. Go to the Rose Bowl. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Go to the Rose Bowl. Do not think, maybe I'll go the next time. Go to the Rose Bowl. Like, if you and I understand it's expensive. If you don't have the money, I get it. If you don't have the money, don't go to the Rose Bowl. If you do have the money, not optional. I am telling you, I am ordering you to go to the Rose Bowl.
How do you feel about the Orange Bowl?
Well, and that's where Ohio State may well be.
Correct.
I don't believe, the ACC champion would be the one that would be contractually tied into the Orange Bowl, and there's not going to be an ACC champion in the top 4. There's not going to be an ACC champion in the top 16, probably top 12. So
did Duke win?
Yes, Duke won in overtime. James Madison won last night. Unless something real wild happens, unless they really put their fingers on the scale, Tulane and James Madison are going to be in the college football playoff. My expectation would be Ohio State is probably in the Orange Bowl, because I don't believe there's a contractual tie-in. If there is the Big 12. The Big 12 is normally tied to the sugar, right? The Big 12 is tied to the sugar, right?
Right now it's just the sugar and the rose.
So my guess would be they would put Texas Tech in the Cotton, because why would you make them fly over to Miami? So I would guess Ohio State will be in the Orange, but that won't be official until tomorrow. And theoretically, Ohio State could fall out of the top 4. Theoretically, I can't fathom how that could possibly
I don't know how
happen.
you could punish either of these
teams. No, that was a game where midway through the third quarter, I was like, these two teams are going to be the only thing that's going to happen to the loser of this team is they're going to have to potentially have Georgia in their path in the semifinal. That's it. Like, I would bet a decent amount of money it's 1 Indiana, 2 Georgia, 3 Ohio State. It could be 1 Indiana, 2 Ohio State, 3 Georgia, and that wouldn't shock me. Just the way Georgia beat Alabama, that probably lets them say, okay, you're number 2. The difference between number 2 and number 3 is really not that significant. Just playing number 6 versus number 7. And there are scenarios where you might rather be 6 because you might play like a Ole Miss instead of an Oregon or something like that. So, and they may be able to sort of put their thumb on the scale to get Ohio State won, Indiana won, Ohio State 3 keeps those two teams from playing each other until potentially the championship game. If you could potentially keep number 2 Georgia from playing a number 7 another SEC team, so you could have number 3 Ohio State play Ole Miss and Georgia play Oregon, and those are much more interesting matchups than a Big Ten team playing a Big Ten team and an SEC team playing an SEC team. I have a feeling that that's how that will work out. However, that will make the TV folks happy. I'm pretty sure.
Ohio State had 22 plays in the first half, and so I think that limited Julian Sayin and the offensive staff's ability to figure out what in the world is Indiana doing, because it felt like Julian Sayin was just slower on most of his snaps than he's been all season long, and there was a delay there. You saw him have to scramble at times. So I think Indiana did a fantastic job. As you see some of the numbers there from today. They were, I think, 0 for 4, 0 for 5 on third downs in the first half. They started out 0 for 5 in the game, finished 4 for 12 on third downs. Again, 0 for 1 on fourth down on Julian Sayin falling down before he can get pushing. They were up there. Julian Sayin and Ryan Day were the two that came out here. And Ryan Day was asked about the sneak and, how do you feel about that? He's like, well, I thought we've done pretty well on the sneaks. And he's like, he asked Julian, like, how many have we done? And Julian says, like, 2.
Well, and one of them was against Michigan and didn't make it.
I know they've made some.
They have made some. They're
0 for their last 2.
Yeah. And that was one of the things where you got to the end of the game and you're down 13-10 and there's 3 minutes left. And, I am the biggest pound the table for you should always be going for it. It's the numbers said in that moment that you should be going for it. But I absolutely understood situationally where they've struggled in fourth and short, third and short for the last couple of weeks. You're down 3 points. You kick the field goal. You tie the game, and then you put it on Indiana's shoulders. Where you want to go win the game, go. You want to go have your Heisman moment, go have your Heisman moment, hot shot, and then they miss the field goal. And that's unfortunate. I understood the process there. I didn't have a huge issue with the process there. And I also think it's worth mentioning Nico Radicic, the kicker for Indiana. How many times last week did we say hasn't missed a kick all year? Missed a very makeable. It was a 39-yarder and not much wind in here. So, this is a big moment. You're putting a lot on the shoulders of a 20-something kid in both cases. So you can't expect perfection. These are not college kickers are not known for being perfect at all times.
I was sitting there. So Ohio State gets the ball back with 10:45 left in the fourth quarter, and I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, well, you're guaranteed 2 more possessions, unless, of course, you take 8 minutes on that one drive, because it became, well, we need to score, and then at maybe midfield-ish, it turned into, let's try not to give the ball back. And that's fine, provided you score. And if you don't score, then you've just doomed yourself. So you've limited your opportunities.
Yeah. Well, in the second half, 2 of their drives were 12 plays, 70 yards, 6 minutes and 58 seconds off the clock, downs. 15 plays, 81 yards, 7 minutes and 57 seconds off the clock.
It's an entire
missed
quarter.
Field goal. That is an entire quarter. It is 14 minutes and 56 seconds. 55 seconds. That is an entire quarter. 2 drives, 151 yards.
So they're lining
27 plays.
How many points?
0 points.
0 points. I was headed to the elevator as fielding was lining up. And based on the reaction, I'm like, well, that's a miss. And boy, not great, Bob. And I thought, you know what? Get downstairs, watch this overtime game or whatever it happens to be. And it was a great game because this was not a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
But boy, they'd love this in the SEC about all of these, the defense, the SEC defense.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But this was one where you're constantly like, any play could win this. And there were a couple times Bo Jackson, when they were limited to when he gets tackled by the hip as he's about to break into the end zone for like a 14-yard run.
Yeah, that was
right up the middle.
That was one where You want to see the impact of having Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate on the field in the red zone.
Yeah.
They're split out to the left. Indiana's got 4 over 2. They got 4 guys over 2. Guess what that does? Everywhere else. Guess what that means, Tony? That means you've got 9 guys, and they've only got 7 on the whole rest of the field. And Bo Jackson was running. It was a great. They got the look. They called a play. Bo Jackson's running away from them. They've got numbers, and it just got tackled by that much. What? Let me preface this by saying that I recognize that Ohio State's coaches are not stupid.
Right.
So there has got to be an explanation for this that is not, they don't understand this. So there has to be an explanation. Why are Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith not on the field in the red zone? And why, when they are on the field, if you get singled up, are you not throwing a fade to them or a slant? If they're playing outside leverage, you throw a slant. If they're playing inside leverage, you throw a fade. Why are you not doing that once a drive in the red zone? Because what you are doing sure isn't working.
Well, I thought we got away from the 13 personnel, and I wanted to ask Ryan about that. But the answer is, what did you see from Indiana that thought this would be good to go back to? And I'm sure he would say something like, well, we've never gone away from it. It's like, well, you've gone away from the heavy usage of 13 personnel. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Ryan Day would know better than I would on those numbers, but it sure seems like they'd gone away from it for the past month. And then for some reason it was back in vogue tonight, and it's not effective enough. 10 points effective.
Yeah.
And when you had your only scoring drive comes off of an interception, your only touchdown drive comes off of an interception, and your field goal drive comes off of a 40-some yard pass play to Jeremiah Smith that probably should have been a touchdown, but was a little underthrown. And I'm not going to fault Saying who was getting pressured. His feet, the defensive linemen were getting to his feet at that point. So, it's a complete pass. You get to the red zone, do something with it. But we did see the heavy tight end personnel. There's one play where Jelani Thurman was running like a 9 route. He was lined up wide. I'm sure that's just to take the defense away or whatever. But you can do that with other players.
Right.
And taking either Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate off and down inside the 5. I said this to somebody else. Anytime you're removing one of those players, the defense thanks you.
Yes.
You should never do something that the defense thanks you for.
Right. Yeah. Put yourself in. This is the Dwight Schrute thing. Before I do something, I think, would an idiot do this? And if I think the answer is yes, I don't do that. Before I do something as an offensive football coach, I think, will the defensive coaches be happy to see this? And if I think they will, I don't do that. Like, I recognize that football is a complicated game. I recognize that there are a million factors beyond the stuff that you and I can possibly fathom that go into all of these decisions. I would like to have that explained at some point, because it seems so screamingly obvious we've talked about that a bunch this year, where they're struggling in the red zone, and it's like, well, what if we just did it harder? Like, what if you did something else? Like, but I reckon they tried once in Michigan, and the throw was a little high, and they tried once tonight, and I think he was like, there was one that was like right in front of me, and I think he just wasn't open and saying threw it away. I think, but they tried lots of stuff once that didn't work, and they went back to a bunch of it, and they didn't go back to that. That just perplexes me to no end. But this is the theme of all the post-game conversations with all the players for Ohio State was, basically, we've been here before, we've seen this, we know, we were in this situation, a game with this exact score last year, in a moment. That game was far more devastating than this one. This is whole week we said, like, this is a game that we're so excited to watch these two teams play. This is going to be such a great matchup. It's going to be such a great atmosphere. 100% lived up to every single bit of that. And both teams are going to still go in. And, what was at stake here was a trip to Pasadena and not having to play Georgia until the potentially national championship game. That was what was at stake. That's it. And, and the Big Ten championship trophy, and probably the Heisman. But this is not a season ender. Like, I was here in 2000. I was here in 2013. That was a that was like devastating for Ohio State and everyone involved. This is like, this. I think they're upset. They're angry. Like Caleb Downs apparently was very angry. I was not in there. Like Caleb Downs was like mad. But it's also, this is like, you've been here before. Tony, as a group of Scandinavians said at one point in the mid 90s, you get knocked down and you get back up again. You never let them keep you down, Tony. That is what, if the friends from Chumbawamba have taught us anything, I think that is the thing that is my big takeaway.
There was one point where Ohio State had it down in the red zone. It was like 1st and 10 in the red zone, and I'm like, can we just fast forward to 3rd and 7? And it ended up being 3rd and 6, and it's like.
So you were way off. Did you apologize?
Yeah, of course. Like, oh boy, but yeah, it's interesting to see. Like they are trying it on Heisman mode when they don't need to, and there were some bad. Like, look, we're talking about everything, right? Did you see Kenyatta Jackson get tackled by 2 offensive linemen?
Okay, so I want to frame this very carefully.
Right.
I was thinking, like, I want to tweet something about the officiating tonight, but I want to do it after Indiana gets screwed by a play. And then there was one, and I thought, oh, this is my opportunity, and I didn't do it. And this was not like, oh, it's a big Big Ten conspiracy to help Indiana win, or a big Big Ten conspiracy to help. This was just like, congratulations on officiating your first college football game ever. It's wow, I can't believe they gave you this assignment. But
two dudes tackling Kenyatta Jackson.
Yeah, there was a lot of holding that was uncalled, and Ohio State's right side of the offensive line was not exactly exemplary.
They weren't holding. That's why.
There were some pass interference calls that probably could have been made on both teams that were not made. The one on Lorenzo Styles Jr., where they got the interception, that was not pass interference, even though he got there way early because did they explain this on the broadcast?
Yeah, behind the line.
It was behind the
the game.
They were behind it was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, so you can't. That is not.
Didn't realize that.
Yes, well,
they were booing. The other one, the forward progress of Julian Sayin on the 14-yard sack that made it. 3rd and 12, it turned it into a 3rd and 29. It's like, that's the end of that drive.
Well, except then on 3rd and 29, Ohio State lines up and is going to throw like a screen or something, and Indiana calls timeout. That was right at the beginning of the second half. I thought, oh boy, that's a timeout that they are really going to need later. And then that's not how the game played out. But
the refs totally screwed Ohio State. I think.
No.
It's just interesting to see. Some bad calls here and there, but again, Indiana made the plays to win the game.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of super chats we need to get to from the Mystic Arts label. Fire Ryan Day, hire Kurt. We were not prepared at all. How the hell did this happen? Indiana is supposed to have awful players. Ryan Day, I don't think.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so Indiana does not have awful players.
Right.
If Indiana had awful players, they wouldn't be here. Kurt Cignetti's not magic.
They're 13-0 now.
He's just a very good football. Yeah. They have the quarterback who is literally about to win the Heisman Trophy. Like, you don't, outside of Gino Torretta, bad players don't win the Heisman Trophy. It's not like this is, you don't get to the point that Indiana's been 2 years in a row. And it's like, wow, can't believe they got lucky 24 times in a row. Like, incredible. Like, they're not, we've said this for 2 years now. You don't absolutely annihilate bad competition every single week without being a good team. Now, last year they had, this is still a team that has scaling problems. We've talked about that all week long, where, they can put up 60 points against bad teams, but as soon as they play good teams, they're going to struggle to score. Now, 13 points happen to be enough to get them a win tonight. I think this is a team that, frankly, if these two teams are on the opposite sides of the bracket and this is the national championship game, sign me up. Sign me up right now. I would watch that game again. 10 out of 10. It won't be the same game.
Right.
But, like, those two teams again, sign me up.
They want to see each other again.
Oh, yeah. Now, that game is Indiana football validating everything. Everything.
Yeah.
You notice you don't hear the Peter Burnses of the world saying, oh, just wait. They know. If Indiana plays Alabama, Ole Miss. Ole Miss don't want that smoke. That is not. I don't think that'd go well for Ole Miss.
Now, we can talk about Ohio State getting outcoached and the lack of preparation, and I don't know that you can necessarily argue that or argue it successfully. It did not go well for them, but it did not go great for Indiana. It just went well enough.
Yeah,
like this is a very tough, hard-fought game.
And another one from the same person. Ryan Day made a critical mistake in promoting Brian Hartline to OC. Should have picked the best person for the job, and Hartline was not it. I mean,
boneheaded choice.
Brian Hartline is a person who is a very crucial part of the offensive coaching staff. It's the side of the ball where Ryan Day is still in the building. This is still the Ryan Day offense. This is not Brian Hartline. And this is not like Brian Hartline is the only person making these decisions. This was the game plan that the coaching staff came up with and the coaching staff put together. And you can agree with it or not, but this was not like Brian Hartline solely doing this. And, he was in Tampa, so he was late, and he got to school on Thursday morning and went, uh-oh, I forgot to do my homework. Like, there are issues. But if Ryan Day wanted them to not do the 13 personnel crap anymore in the goal line situations, they would be doing it. Like, Ryan Day is still ultimately like, you know what the org chart looks like.
Right.
So this is not Brian Hartline. And, Brian Hartline is going to be on his way to Tampa after the next time that Ohio State loses. The next time Ohio State loses, Brian Hartline will be on his way to Tampa. And so, this was not a loss that was caused by Brian Hartline being the offensive coordinator. I think the game plan was not great.
Yeah,
but
it was lost. I think this game was lost during the week.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff going on during the week.
Okay. So now there's been a lot that I've objected to in this, but the offense really wasn't that great all year. Like, Indiana's a top offense and defense. Indiana just scored 13 points.
Right.
Like, Indiana is very good. Indiana is a legitimate and deserving Big Ten champion. They are a legitimate and deserving number one seed in the college football playoff. 100%. I don't want to take anything away from Indiana. Did you come away from that game thinking Indiana is clearly a better team than Ohio State? And if Ohio State and Indiana play in the college football playoff, Indiana is what percentage chance do you give Indiana winning in the college football playoff if these teams meet again?
40?
Yeah,
I think they're going to be the underdog, I would think.
I think 50 is a perfectly fair number. I think 40 is a perfectly fair number. That is a game where that's how Indiana wins that game. Like, go back and watch a show where we told you this is how Indiana wins the game, and we talked about the defensive front. We talked about the linebackers. We talked about trying to keep it close, trying to just turn it into a rock fight, trying to get into the fourth quarter and hope that Ohio State didn't handle the fourth quarter well.
Yeah.
I mean, we do the show where Ohio State wins. We do the show where Indiana wins. Generally, we have a decent sense for what it's going to look like if one team wins or the other one does, and that was basically the Indiana wins game. Now, is Ohio State going to be, is Ohio State going to have, 10 points and 4 red zone trips or whatever it was next time? Probably not. And Indiana had, both teams got turnovers that kind of got the ball, gave them short fields that they turned into points. That was not a game that I watched and thought, well, Ohio State's going to have no answers the next time they play this team.
No, I would love to see it. I think everybody would, because it could be the same outcome in terms of Indiana winning. I don't think anybody would doubt that.
Yeah.
But a lot of things went wrong for Ohio State. Indiana forced some of those things, most of those things.
Yeah.
And you'd have to do it again. And, some of the players that we talked about leading up to the week, Isaiah Jones, fantastic. 2 sacks in this game.
Yeah. Elijah Hardy had a sack.
He led him in tackles. Mm-hmm. We talked about how they don't like to get away from the linebackers, and their first interception came with 3 linebackers on the field against Ohio State's 11 personnel.
Yeah.
And the 7
Yep. Sure did.
Lewis.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Lewis Moore.
I don't know that we gave them enough credit during the week, because he made a great play on the ball and got in there and jumped it. And another early interception for Julian Sanders. He says, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I would agree.
Yeah. And one more was, how does the Indiana receivers look better than Ohio State's? Did they? I mean, Ohio State had more passing yards. Charlie Becker is phenomenal. Like,
we talked all week about Charlie Becker.
You want to ask a question about wide receivers? How the heck did Charlie Becker not start until, like, Charlie Becker didn't play until
talk to Signetti about it.
Yeah, Elijah Surratt was hurt. Was it Elijah Surratt was hurt against Penn State? Like, Penn State, that was after Ohio State played Penn State. I think
like half a season without Charlie Becker.
And then he came in and it was like, holy crap! And then 6 catches, 126 yards, including the 51-yarder right at the end. I mean, he is phenomenal.
And that was, I think, the one at the end was the worst coverage of the day. I said that earlier. Like, the one
was that Matthews?
Yes,
coverage. Yeah.
And he caught one on Lorenzo Styles that was deep, and Styles had his arm in there. Becker caught the arm as well. Very, very good day by him. Elijah Surratt had the touchdown on Matthews as well. Not a great day for Jermaine. So, he's kicking himself, and he wants another shot at these guys.
Well, and you know what? I go back to? You remember the first Oregon game last year? Remember Denzel Burke's day? Yeah. And everything was lost after that, and nothing ever got fixed ever again. This is I feel like I'm taking crazy pills comment of the day. The offense has been middle of the pack all year. What are you talking about? Ohio State's offense in SP Plus, number 5 in the nation in SP Plus, and I think they're top 5 in FEI. They're top 5 in most scoring categories. Like, we need to control our emotions in the comments.
Well, and I think it's probably middle of the pack yards per game, where they're not striving for a bunch of yards per game.
Yes,
they're also never down to where we need a bunch of yards to get a bunch of points. We've got enough points. We don't need any more yards.
Ty Riggs wants to know, why did we waste time running with the best wide receivers? And I think this kind of ties into this one from 444 Chroma. Are we a snow team now? What happened to fast track? I feel like right side of the offensive line happened to fast track. That if you can't protect, that limits what you can do in the passing game. Now, I think there were plenty of opportunities that got left on the table, even understanding the offensive line thing. But I think that certainly does factor in.
Yeah, we said it against Michigan. If you protect Julian Sand, you'll win. Said the same thing here.
Yeah.
If you protect him, you're going to win. And I think he saw some things that, like I said, slowed him down. But then the pressure was just, we haven't seen that from this Ohio State offensive line all year long. Even when they were questionable, they're still trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them shaking like this. And they're gonna look at the film from this and be like, this is terrible. I never want to see this again. I never want this to happen again.
Well, you had a better view of the offensive line than I do, because I'm down on the field, you're up in the box. So you have a better sense for, I got that lots of stuff was coming off the right side. I got that. I felt like there were moments where I thought, oh boy, Philip Daniels is not having a good game, but he stayed in, and they pulled Tegra and put Gabe Van Sickle in after halftime. Was it more Tegra than Daniels? Was it just kind of like both of those guys, but they feel like Van Sickle is maybe someone who they can put in, and they don't necessarily have someone at right tackle?
They Van Sickle didn't play against Michigan. Is that?
I don't believe so. No.
Clearly, they felt things were going okay with Tegra, and then boom, they weren't. So it's like, well, we've got to do something.
Yeah.
And then there was also pressure, I think, from the left side, because we saw Julian having to run to the right as well. So and escape that. I don't think you give anybody kudos for their job on the offensive line today.
No,
because they didn't establish the run. Bo started to get going a little bit there, but when you can't convert third downs,
right,
you can't learn enough about the defense to figure out what they're doing,
right,
and you can't get a running game going. You can't establish anything because you just had 3 downs, and one of them or 2 of them were a rush, 1 or 2 were a pass, and now you're punting.
Yeah. Bo Jackson finishes 17 carries, 83 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, and a long of 20, so it wasn't like skewed. Kalon Black, 16 for 69, but had a long of 37. So really, you take out the one long run, and they rushed for like 34 for 9. I mean, really, like 3 yards a carry. Ohio State actually outrushed them, really, except Julian Sayin had a real bad day. I mean, a lot of sack yardage, and the 17-yard loss on the one that got blown dead kind of skews those numbers a little bit.
Smidge.
So Mike Farino says very frustrated with the goal line play calling, but overall they got inside the Indiana 10 4 times. 3 of those times they did run, pass. The 1 touchdown sequence was run, pass. Need to be better there. I don't disagree with any of that.
Now, is it okay if they run, pass with 3 or 4 tight ends? I'm asking for a friend.
No. Can I just say no and we move on? Murphy Serafino says red zone was brutal. That was the game. One touchdown and 4 trips. Yeah.
Not being able to finish the drives out, that's always going to cost you. That's the story of this one.
Well, and this felt like all the stuff that all year we kind of went, yeah, they won, but you got to keep an eye on the right side of that offensive line. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that the short yardage. You got to keep an eye on that red zone. The defense. Once again, this is a defense that now has gone through 13 games and no one has scored 17 points against them. That's nuts. That's nuts.
Ryan Day was asked after you missed a field goal, did you regret not going for it on 4th and 1?
Who asked that question so I can smack them in the back of the head?
It was, I was like, who can I blame those? Somebody from a place I've never heard.
444 Chroma says offense in disarray and no answers, plus missing a crucial field goal. I've seen this movie before and it feels like the hallmark of a Ryan Day loss. Well, I think when Ryan Day has lost, when the offense is rolling, how many games has Ohio State lost where the offense was rolling? Georgia. End of list.
I mean, yeah, because the Oregon game in 2021, that was not rolling. And the Oregon
2024, they got to 30. 30 you probably should win, but they weren't like rolling. But this is generally, when you're an offensive coach, this is what it looks like when you lose. So it's like, when the offense isn't rolling, this is what it looks like. And sometimes you just have this is the NCAA tournament conversation. Like sometimes it's just a matchup thing. And Indiana's front 7 was not a good matchup for Ohio State's front 5 on this game. And there are counter punches there. And I would certainly expect that if these two teams play again, you will see Ohio State take a different approach in the red zone. I would certainly hope that if these two teams play again, you would see. And this is the first loss for Ohio State in more than a calendar year. This is an Ohio State team that had just won 15 games in a row. So, this is not like, 16 games in a row. Sorry. This is not an all is lost by any means. This is all the stuff that you've sort of seen, like, yeah, that might be an issue. Like it all turned out to be an issue all at the same time. So now, okay, what's the solution? And if there's not a solution, what's the workaround? There's always a workaround. You now have 3.5 weeks to figure it out, and then you're going to go play. I want to know. I mean, I'll be fascinated to see tomorrow who Ohio State's playing. I was going to try and look at. I can't remember the playoff bracket and where things. I think it's like in Oregon or Ole Miss is probably depending on if they're 2 or 3, and they'll probably sort of offset those to not have them, not have them play another Big Ten team.
Ole Miss.
Yeah. So based on the rankings this week, number 3 would play the Ole Miss Tulane winner, and number 2, if they just slide there, would play maybe the Texas A&M Notre Dame winner. I got to tell you, if Ohio State, if Ohio State is, if Ohio State gets their choice,
3.
Oh, I think Ohio State. I think Ohio State would much rather be 3 than 2, because then you're gonna, Ohio play a Lane Kiffinless Ole Miss rather than Texas A&M or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
No, that's give Ryan Day the option there. I do wonder I certainly wonder what the committee is going to do, because Georgia dominated Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You could see them a conference champion, an SEC conference champion with 1 loss, correct? Georgia?
Yes, yeah.
Now, they were the number 2 seed. I don't know if you've heard this, Tom. The number 2 seed in the SEC championship game. That was one of the things I kept hearing after Alabama lost. You can't drop the number 1 seed in the SEC championship game. That was a new one on me.
Oh, wow, really? That's so fascinating. Can I guess what network you heard that on, Tony? Can I guess? Hang on. Let me rephrase that. I bet I can guess what network you heard that on.
I'm not taking any bets on that one. I will lose. The house will lose that one.
Todd says, what about our stellar kicker? Even the first field goal was shaky. I
didn't get a good look at the first one, but the first one against Michigan was this close to being wide left.
Yeah. Well, and so this is one of those things where you now have this data.
Yeah.
You can factor that into your decision making. If it's not 27 yards, that's basically 2.8 points. Like, you figure he's going to make it about 90% of the time. Well, if the number's not 90%, well, then that factors into your decision making in terms of your expected point value. So now you have to be able to convert 4th and 1. That also factors into your decision making. Like,
football's too hard.
You have to assume he's going to make that. And guess what? Like, people fail at stuff sometimes. That is a thing that happens sometimes. People don't always execute exactly what they want to do. But this is not the absolute end of the world by any means. I want to be super, super clear on that. This is a loss. Ohio State would have rather won than lost tonight. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's the insight that you're here for. Ohio State would have rather won than lost this game. But losing this game is not the end of the world by any means. If you have a memory 12 months long or longer, you know that already.
Well, I said this, I wondered this before the Michigan game. They lose the Michigan game last year, and they use that to motivate them. I don't think you can do that twice, right? I don't know that you can do that twice to be devastated and then somehow climb out of the rubble stronger than when you went in there. Mm-hmm. This is a different kind of loss. As Ryan said, now the team is not breaking up or needs the team meeting. Mm-hmm. They're angry.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to show how angry they are to anybody that will listen or take the field against them. That's well and good, but you have to show it. And the defense has to be frustrated. I know Caleb Downs sounds frustrated to give up 13 points and lose the game second year in a row, because that is enough points. That's all you should have to do as a defense. Give up 13 points, and you should win all of your games if you have Ohio State's talent. Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be a game that frustrates and sticks with the offense and Ryan Day and Brian Hartline for a very, very long time. Or at least, I don't know how long it'll stick with Brian Hartline, because he's going to move on and do things, but this is going to be a hard one to forget.
Yeah, for sure. But it's one that also, the Michigan game last year, everyone was absolutely crushed, absolutely devastated, and then you get to Tennessee, and about halftime of the Tennessee game, I think the Michigan game had been, and certainly you get to the Rose Bowl, and it's 34-0 in the second quarter of the Rose Bowl, and no one's saying, well, I'm still mad. Like, everyone is back in wee mode. And if they go down to the road, presumably the Orange Bowl, and they do to Ole Miss what they did to Tennessee last year, and then you've got Georgia coming up, and that would be in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yep.
Ohio State now on the Fiesta Bowl track, because Indiana goes to the Rose Bowl, and because Indiana is closer to the Peach Bowl than the Fiesta Bowl, Indiana, as the number 1 seed, would then be on the track to go play in the Peach Bowl. So Indiana is Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, Miami for the national championship. Ohio State is almost certainly going to be Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, back to Miami for the national championship. Tony, we get to go be in Miami Gardens twice, potentially in the span of a month.
It is by far the worst of all of the stadiums in the whole New Year's Six situation. Worst venue, least appealing. It's SeaWorld aqua green and cement.
Yeah.
If that's your, no offense to anybody that has it as their living room, I'm sorry.
It's it's all the stuff that we said earlier to Indiana fans. And again, if you're just joining us, go to the Rose Bowl. Yeah. Don't say, maybe I'll wait for it. Go to the Rose Bowl. We've been to all these. Go to the Rose Bowl. I'm not saying, well, you should think, if you have the money to do this, go to the Rose Bowl. You will go there and you will thank me later. I will pull up one of the videos that I shot there last year, and it's just, and I'll tweet it out later. Go to the Rose Bowl. I have a buddy of mine who is an Indiana grad, and I said earlier in this week, I'm going to be mad at you if you don't go to the Rose Bowl. I'm going to be very angry with you if you don't go to the Rose Bowl. Go to the Rose Bowl.
All you've got is PTO time left. Use it.
Well, it's not cheap. And if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. I get it. You have spent your entire life watching the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day and thinking, well,
do you think?
Well, I don't know. Maybe is there like the battle for Atlantis or something? I don't know. But maybe they're watching some kind of college basketball. I don't know. But now Indiana fans have figured out, oh, college football is actually better and more fun than college basketball. Yeah. So great. Now you don't need to worry about the fact that your basketball team has been terrible for 25 years. Now you can just enjoy football.
Yeah.
Go to the Rose Bowl. I'm not like suggesting this. I'm telling you to go to the Rose Bowl.
To appreciate what Indiana's been able to do, Kurt Cignetti been able to do in 2 years, win a Big Ten championship, go celebrate it in Pasadena 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a couple things that I want to get to. Let's start with Luke Montgomery. We got a chance to talk to Luke Montgomery a little bit after the game. I hope you guys can hear this. It was a huge group of people, and I was a little further back. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. You may have to turn your speakers up a little bit. But he had some interesting stuff to say after the game. Ohio State left guard, obviously. So let's hear a little bit from Luke.
Block short. Is that how you felt, and what was that message in the locker room?
Yeah, 100%. Just one play short. You know, at the end of the day, like now we got to go and play for a natty. You know, we've been here before. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Like we got to get back on the film, and you know, the issues are always there, and you know, they arose at the top today. So just got to go from there.
It was 1 versus 2. I feel like that can get lost in all of this matchup game. What did you think Indiana's defense was doing to maybe stress you guys on the O-line?
Yeah, I just think they run a really good scheme. They're taught very well, and they know what to do. So hats off to them. Congrats to them. I'm sure we'll see them again, though. So
you said the issues were always there. What issues are you talking about?
Just certain plays and stuff like that. Like it happens. They arose today. Like technique, just more of like a technique standpoint and stuff like that. Like I think we can all be better, including me, obviously. So. We'll have to figure that out.
You had a team meeting last year after Michigan. You regrouped. Can you use this as ammunition anyway moving forward? What's the vibe?
Yeah, I think obviously we can use it as ammunition. Right now we'll just we'll sit on it and soak it in so we don't have to feel it later. Obviously in this upcoming rest of the season. So.
Yeah, something you said there's almost, a few guys have said that they felt like you guys got exposed a little bit tonight. You found some weaknesses. Is it almost better to find that out now than say New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
Yeah, I would say so. I think we could, that comes with just practice and stuff like that. I think we can find that in practice. We just got to stay more locked in and stuff like that. But like they arose today, and it is what it is. And now we got to go correct them.
What did you make of the 2 trips inside the 10 that came up empty? Really uncharacteristic.
Again, I think we gotta go back and watch the film and stuff like that. We're gonna want some stuff back. It's a team game. Like some guys have great games, some guys have bad games. But like at the end of the day, like a loss is loss, and we go from there. We pick each other up, and it's just unfortunate that we're here. But it is what it is now.
It's been a long time since this team felt a loss.
Yeah.
And you're standing out there singing Carmen.
Yeah.
You're seeing them celebrate. What's going through your mind?
Just don't let it happen again. Just obviously being an Ohio kid, stuff like that. Like it sucks. You obviously never want to feel like this. It's a bad day when you lose at Ohio State, obviously. So, we're not going to let that happen again. We're going to win it all and win the rest of it.
Austin said you felt like you guys were 1 block away from opening up the running game. Is that something you felt on the field as well?
Yeah, I would say so, including myself. I had a few miscues today. I'm going to go back and just really dive in on myself and just where I'm at right now. And obviously, we're going to probably have like a month now to work and stuff like that. So. Like I said, it is what it is, and we're going to have to get better at technique. We're going to have to get better at a lot of things, and the issues were there today. So
I know you guys, when you make a mistake, it doesn't always show up to the crowd, but when Jaden does, he's on an island out there. I'm curious, locker room afterwards, what's it like for him, and what do you guys do for that?
Like I said, like we're a team, man. We got to pick him up. It wasn't all on him. I think we could have played a lot better as an O-line today. I think it just is what it is. Like guys, it wasn't just him. I know that was like he was out there on an island, but like we're all there for him, and we could have done a lot of things better for him, so we wouldn't be in that moment.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Luke.
Yep. Take care, guys.
All right, so that was Luke Montgomery, and I think the question there at the end about Jaden Fielding is like, yeah, he's the one who you look at and go, that's the guy that missed the field goal that cost them the game. But there's a lot that went into how they lost that game.
Yeah, and they scored 10 points. It's not
Yeah,
just a kicker who did not perform his job. This is a team that was scoring 35, 36 points a game, and you're 4 touchdowns short of your average.
Yeah.
That's not just a kicker.
No.
It's not just a kicker that didn't score all the touchdowns.
No,
So
for sure.
yeah, he's got one job, and it was a short kick. He feels worse about it than you do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
no matter how much money you had on the game, he feels worse
Yeah.
about it than you do. The we should get also to the Brandon Innes interview, because Innes has a good perspective on this, because he's obviously team captain. He also, and you'll hear a little bit about this during this interview, he was one of the guys who got up and was like one of the big main speakers during that big team meeting after the Michigan loss last year. So he has been to the fair and seen the bear, as our friend Kevin likes to say. So this is not his first rodeo with this kind of stuff. So here's a little bit from Brandon Innes.
Yeah, we know this one's gonna hurt. It's not what we wanted. This was one of our goals, and we didn't get the job done. But we still have another major goal in front of us. We have to watch the film, see what went wrong, clean it up. And we're probably gonna have a long break, a long time to sit on this loss, and then we got to go execute the rest of the season.
For the offense, it felt like things struggled to get going. What was causing that out there that just couldn't get in the flow of the game?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I gotta watch the film and see everything, but we just didn't play the best of our abilities tonight, and we know that. We know we couldn't turn the ball over, and that was on me, and I take full responsibility for that. And yeah, we're gonna get it right.
You're a captain of this team. You were here last year. You know that a loss, you can still turn around and win this thing. How much do you feel that comes on your guys' shoulders to make sure the locker room's ready to go in however many days it is?
Yeah, that was the message me and Caleb were saying coming back into the locker room. We've been here before. We know what it takes now. We know what it takes to turn a loss into something great.
Brandon, you obviously were a key figure in the meeting last year after the loss to Michigan. You're now a captain of this team, so it's even more on your shoulders to get this thing right.
Yep.
How do you take the next 3 weeks?
Identify the things that went wrong. First of all, watch the film, identify all the things that went wrong, and then go put 3 great weeks of practice in, and then get back on the field and execute to the best of our abilities.
Only 1 touchdown in the red zone tonight. What do you think it is maybe in the red zone that's tripped you guys up sometimes this year?
Just not executing. I mean, sometimes plays are there, sometimes they're not, but players make plays at the end of the day, and we didn't make enough plays today, especially in the red zone and 3rd down. It was terrible, but we'll get it right.
Is there ever a give and take between players and coaches in identifying what is working versus what plays maybe aren't working as much throughout a game?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that conversation of what plays are working and not working, and some of the plays we ran tonight didn't work, and we were going to identify that and then get back to work and make sure we get it right.
This is Julian's first loss.
Yep.
So what do you say to him as somebody who now needs to rebound and have a better performance in the playoff?
Yeah, I feel like Julian has enough confidence. He knows he's going to get it right. This isn't only all on him. We're a team, and we got his back, and that's just what a team does, and he's going to get right. I know.
What would be your message to Jaden Fielding?
Yeah, I told him right after. I thought we were going to have an opportunity to go win the game at the end, but it didn't turn out that way. But at the end of the day, we say all 10 units have to do their job, and that's just something we have to clean up as well.
Brandon, you went right over to Jaden Fielding without even missing a beat after the missed kick. As a captain of this team, as a teammate of Jaden, how important was it for you to be one of the first people to see him? And what was your message to him in that moment?
Yeah, it was like keep your head up. Everything doesn't always go right in football. We want it to. We want everything to be perfect, but that's not how it's going to go. And I felt like I thought we were going to have opportunity to go win the game at the end. I was like, we're either going to go to overtime or we're going to win the game with a touchdown. But it didn't end up that way.
How do these types of games help you grow as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, it helps a lot, honestly, to see what a team does after the loss. We got to rally our guys, and we still know we got all of our goals in front of us, and we just got to execute them.
Brandon, I think you were the first person to greet Jaden after he made the field goal against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
to win the national championship, you know that he has that in him.
Yep.
How much does that help you guys to know, like, this didn't go his way, but the last time you guys were in a college football playoff, now or never win, like, he did connect on one?
Yeah, I think it's important for kickers to know they have the ability. They have to have extreme confidence, and that's what we try to instill in kickers, because they have a high-pressure job. You know, I think any random person should just go try to kick a 40-yard field goal and see how they do. But at the same time, you know, he knows he has to do his job at the end of the day, and but we're going to rally around him, and we still got a job to finish.
2 trips down inside the 10 that came up empty. How do you look at that?
Open for a little while longer. I don't know if I can get
Oh, say that one time, please.
2 trips down inside the 10 that came up empty. Just, are you shocked that even happened?
Yeah, I am. You know, we try to pride ourselves on scoring in the red zone and execute on third down. We didn't do them both tonight, and that's why we lost.
Brandon, Austin Saraval just said that last year, the week after the Michigan game, they had that mentality that allowed them to continue to push through and do what you guys did. How did you build that mentality, and how similar could this next week be to the week after last year's Michigan?
I mean, honestly, it'll probably be pretty similar. And I just thought about it, the same score, 13-10. So I feel like it'll be pretty similar. And yeah.
Brandon, last year, you were really influential in that, making that happen and making sure that that was a meaningful motivation to move forward. What do you take
Two more
from this
questions for
to
Brandon.
do that in the same kind of vein, of being able to transmit a message that says this is what we can do moving forward?
Yeah, just because we did it last year doesn't mean we could do it again necessarily, but we have to go do it. We have to go do it on the field. We have to execute right. I mean, when the defense holds a team to 13 points, we can't score more than 13 points. At the end of the day, that's the offense's fault. We know that, and we're going to clean everything up and get it right.
Brandon, thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, so there you go. Yeah, I mean, if the defense holds them to 13, that's a game you should probably win.
Why not hold them to 6?
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's the only other option there, basically, based on that. So yeah, the defense did well enough. The offense, as they know, at least they know.
Oh yeah,
they're very self-aware that they did not do enough, and you finished 2 of those drives, and this is a different game. You finished 1 of those drives, and this is a very different game.
You know, I think you want to really put this in perspective. We have been in the Ohio State locker rooms for the season-ending losses, where it is just utter devastation. 2019 Fiesta Bowl, 2022 Peach Bowl. That is as devastated as I have ever seen a group of people in my, for legitimately tragedy reasons in my life. This is not that. This is guys who are annoyed, guys who know they didn't play well, guys who know, okay, that wasn't good enough. We need to do better. There's an old saying that it's hard to beat a team twice in one season, and if these two teams face off again, I think you're probably going to see a different game. Different doesn't necessarily mean Ohio State wins by 40, but it means it's not going to be 13-10 the next time they play, because you're going to have some different counter punches and then some counter punches to the counter punches.
Yeah, the same game won't be played. The same game wouldn't win it anyway. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to win it in a different way.
Yeah. So
we have a super chat.
Oh, we do have a super chat. Let's get that in right now. Murphy Serafino says, only time I wouldn't want to play in this playoff is Georgia. Well, Ohio State won the right to play Georgia in the semifinals now. Very, very likely. We don't know. We won't know for sure until Sunday at noon, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you're now likely going to have to play Georgia in the semifinals, not in the final. However, if you're playing, you're not number 1, so then you're not going to be fed into the Peach Bowl. So now you're not playing Georgia in Atlanta. Now you're probably playing Georgia in Phoenix, which, okay, that's a very different thing than the setting where Ohio State played Georgia the last time. So if you're looking for something to feel good about, that's something to feel good about.
So there you go. So tomorrow.
Yes. Tomorrow. So Saturday. Saturday's today. No, actually it's Sunday.
Today.
Sunday is now today. Someone who does a show that does this every day, you would think would understand this at this point, but no. So it's now Sunday. We are going to wrap things up here at some point soonish, and then head back to our hotel, and then get up in the morning and drive back to Columbus, Ohio. And we will we're going to try and do something live, like an instant reaction show of some kind for the college football playoff rankings reveal. That'll happen at noon, so look for that at noon. We're supposed to be talking to the Buckeyes. That's supposed to be around 1:30 in the afternoon. Get some reaction from them. We'll try and get those interviews streamed for you there, and then we'll sort of, then you'll sort of have your and you'll know what's next is at that point. But regardless, Ohio State, unless the committee does something absolutely wild, Ohio State is still 3 wins away from a national championship right now. And guess what? Indiana is 3 wins away from the national championship right now. So, this is a game that Indiana won. They get the championship. They get the trophy. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have a fellow who probably gets to pick up another trophy in New York next week. And then after that, then it's a race to win 3 games to win the national championship. And we have seen Ohio State turn the page in a situation very similar to this a year ago and do it with great success.
Right. They've been able to do it before. They know how to do it. They know it can be done. I think is the big thing there. So that will do it from here. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the super chats, regular chats, all those good things. Hit the thumbs up if you've not yet done so. Subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. Subscribe to BuckeyeHuddle.com. Say hello to us there on the Buckeye Huddle message board presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus. Would love to talk to you there. So that will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.